Is Flower Mound really the picture-perfect suburb that everybody says it is? Today I'm pulling back the curtain on what living in Flower Mound is really like. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You're gonna wanna stick to the end because one of the cons will really surprise you. Hey, I'm Brian White with Blue Fuse Group at eXp Realty. We're located in Flower Mound, which is right here in the heart of North Texas. My family and I love serving folks, whether they're buying or selling. We like to say that we help people move smart, build wealth, and protect what matters most. Each week, we bring you new videos covering what's going on in North Texas so you can make informed, confident decisions. We want you to feel comfortable every step of the way, so stick around and learn more.
So one of the things people love most about Flower Mound is the schools. I'm here at Marcus High School, which is one of two schools in Flower Mound. There's Marcus High School, and then there's also Flower Mound High School. Both are highly rated. They both get A+ from niche.com. We always recommend that people do their own research, so we're going to include a link for you to niche.com. You can check out the high schools, you can check out the district as a whole, go through middle and elementary schools as well. One of the things that's a little bit confusing, honestly, about the schools in Flower Mound is a school district. It's actually in Louisville ISD. Louisville is another suburb. It just neighbors Flower Mound just to the east, but Louisville is one of the largest school districts in all of Texas, so Flower Mound is a part of that with, like I said before, a couple of high schools and a variety of schools. When people talk about Flower Mound and schools, it's known for a variety of things. They're known for great academics. They're known for the programs. When I'm talking about programs, I'm talking about band, talking about athletics, dance. There are a variety of programs where kids can really get plugged in. I say kids, but the kids can get involved, the parents get involved, whether it's the booster clubs or the athletics, there's the band boosters, the PTA programs. A big part of school ratings is actually how involved parents are, and community is just such an active part. We're talking about Friday night lights and football and a variety of things. So Flower Mound is just a great community. It's great for the schools, and it's great because it's a place that people can really get involved.
So the second thing that comes up when people talk about Flower Mound and what makes it amazing, and people do think Flower Mound's amazing. So livability.com recently rated it as the #1 most livable city in the country. Another magazine, Smart Asset, just named it the top 10 in the country. So it gets highly rated across the board. One of the things that gets called out consistently is the parks and recreation system. There are a ton of parks. I mean, dozens and dozens of parks across Flower Mound, and a lot of them are what I like to call pocket parks. So it's a little park with a playscape and some play area for kids. And those are typically just sitting right in the middle of the many amazing neighborhoods across Flower Mound. But what's also great about all those various pocket parks is the trail system. Many of the parks are connected via a really extensive trail system. So if you're a runner, if you're a long distance biker, it can be a great way to get a lot of miles and do that while just going from park to park to park. It's refreshing, it's beautiful, and it can make a run a lot more fun. One of the other things that Flower Mound's done a great job and just recently did is they passed a bond that provided for the parks and trails and everything to get updates and renovations. There's something called the Flower Mound CAC, or Community Activity Center. That's CAC. And what that is, it's a community activity center. It's crazy. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's where people play pickleball, they go to the gym, there's an indoor pool, and that bond provided for expansion of the Community Activity Center, which is important because anybody, any city can establish parks and start a trail system, but it's an entirely different thing to continue to expand it, to, year after year, continue to connect more parks to each other, to expand those trails, expand the Community Activity Center, which is what Flower Mound is doing. The other thing in the park and rec system is Flower Mound sits right between two huge lakes. So it's situated between Grapevine Lake and Louisville Lake. I really call it Lake Louisville. On Lake Louisville, it's known for water sports, right? So wakeboarding, wake surfing, water skiing, lots of fishing. Grapevine Lake is known for those things, but also for sailing. Like if you come by on the weekends, if you drive across Grapevine Lake on the dam, then you're gonna see just a ton of sailboats. It's fun to do, but it's also fun to drive by in the sea. And while you're driving by Grapevine Lake, you should stop at some of the North Shore trails, because there are miles and miles of really great hiking. You can walk literally all the way across the south end of Flower Mound from Lakeside, which is great dining and retail opportunity. You can walk all the way from there, all the way across the south end over to Twin Coves, then even beyond. It's great hiking. It's also great mountain bike trails. So just another extension of that amazing parks and rec system. And it's one of the reasons that people love Flower Mound so much. And that's a great segue to talk about the third thing that people love so much about Flower Mound. I talked about the lakes and the location between those lakes, people love that, but they also love the proximity to really just about everything in DFW. Within 30 minutes, you can get to Fort Worth or Dallas or Frisco for a variety of reasons, right? So you can get to Cowtown, you can get down to Arlington, which sits between Dallas and Fort Worth. Arlington's the home of the Dallas Cowboys, the Texas Rangers, Six Flags, and really just a lot of amusement parks and fun activities. Plenty of employers are in Dallas. You know, that's down where the Mavericks and the Stars play, if you're into that. And then, you know, as we just round the corner, Frisco is booming. Frisco's booming with employers. It's booming with the new Universal Studio Park for kids. You know, if you're thinking about moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, well, you're gonna need to make a stop in an area called the Colony, which is where called Grandscapes, and that's where Nebraska Furniture Mart is. So you're gonna need to get over there because it's like the best place on the planet. It's like all things for shopping. You can get your furniture, your TVs, your tile, well, like whatever you need, you're gonna be able to get at Nebraska Furniture Mart. Flower Mound just kind of sits right in the middle of that within 30 minutes of just about anything that you want to do across Dallas-Fort Worth. There are so many things to love about Flower Mound. We just talked about the schools, the parks, and rec. We also talked about the location. So not everything, though, is all roses. There are some things that people do not love about Flower Mound. So let's dive into those. And the first one we'll talk about is that's a little bit pricey. If we look at the average or the median home price across Dallas-Fort Worth, in June of 2025, it was just south of $400,000. So it's across Dallas-Fort Worth, the median price. That means that half of the homes across Dallas-Fort Worth were less than $400K and half of them were higher than that. In Flower Mound, that number was $620,000. That's 50%. For those doing math at home, that's 50% higher than the median across Dallas-Fort Worth. When you think about the average, though, and what the average means is if you throw all of the houses into a bucket and divide by the number of houses, what was the home price? The average home price in Flower Mound is nearly $700,000 in June of 25. So what does that mean? Well, that means that the high end of Flower Mound is really, really high. There are some very expensive, beautiful luxury homes, and Flower Mound it's an affluent area with a lot of luxury homes. There are, you know, not as many newer homes, but what continues to get built more and more are those luxury homes. So if you're thinking about buying a home in Dallas-Fort Worth, just know, and budget is a factor for everyone, and Flower Mound is going to be an area that it's going to be a little bit pricier than some others in DFW. So just a second ago, I mentioned new construction. Well, that's actually the second thing that's on the list. Complaints or maybe things people don't love as much about Flower Mound, and that's the lack of new construction. There really is not as much. You know, Flower Mound boomed in the 90s and early 2000s, and then there was a little bit of a pause in terms of construction. There was a 10-year moratorium where they couldn't build because it grew so fast, and then that's picked back up. But construction in Flower Mound still hasn't caught up, and unfortunately, a lot of the new construction that there is one builder. Toll Brothers is a luxury builder that dominates the landscape of new construction in Flower Mound. Toll Brothers is a great builder. There's just when we're talking about new construction, there's two things. Number one, they're a really high-end builder, and the other is that just means that there's not as much variety maybe as we'd like to have because there's just one builder. They've got similar floor plans across a number of neighborhoods. There are several others that are coming though, and we're going to be creating some videos about that. So we're really excited about a couple of projects that we're happy to share. We're seeing that growth. Here in a few years, there's going to be a great project out west. So we're really excited to see that come, and really for home buyers, for people that are interested in new construction and everything that means, we're excited for them to have some more options and for us to have a lot more variety in Flower Mound. You know, the limited options in Flower Mound, and particularly when it comes to new construction, is one of the things that's challenging. Is cities mature, then lots get smaller and smaller, right? There's less land, so master plan communities end up being put on fixed lots. We talk to people that are moving in from out of state and from other areas across the country, and a lot of times what they're looking for, they want to talk about big yards. And Texas is a land of opportunity, right? You've seen all kinds of movies and westerns and about all the space and everything that we have. Well, that doesn't necessarily hold true when we're talking about master plan communities. Many of those in the new construction areas are, you know, on 50 and 60-foot lots. It's not necessarily true when we're talking about the luxury neighborhoods, but there is a cost to larger lots, and that's something you should factor in if you're thinking about making a move to the Flower Mound area. All right, so con number 3, and I teased a little bit about this earlier, is traffic. Flower Mound wasn't designed for the population boom when we're talking about roads. There's not really easy access to any highways. So whether it's the weekend or rush hour, you end up with a lot of bottlenecks. During school zone times, we got a lot of stop signs. It just takes a little bit of time to get out of the city and get across the city, which can be really frustrating. One of the times you don't really think about is actually on the weekends. When it gets to be the weekends in the prime sports season, you just roll out on a Saturday morning and you're like, what is happening? Why am I sitting for so long at a stoplight? That's actually a thing at Flower Mound, and it can be pretty
pretty frustrating.
So I don't know if you noticed, but when we did that video, we were trying to show you an example of Flower Mound traffic, and there weren't any cars. Like, there was no traffic. I'm not sure how that happened. We hit the one spot in the day, or maybe even the week, where there wasn't any traffic, but don't count on that. And con number 4 is not a last but not least sort of situation. This one is last and least because it doesn't really apply to everybody. But con number 4 is nightlife, or really I should say the lack of nightlife. I mean, the complete and total lack of nightlife. Flower Mound is what they call a bedroom community. It is quiet. It's a place that people go to. They go to work somewhere else, and then they come back and they come home and they stay home. In many cases, they're going to the kids' sports in the evenings and practices and that sort of thing, but not so much nightlife. There really aren't great options. There are a couple of places, whether it's the Flower Mound Riverwalk, that's a project that we'll do another video on. We'd love to share that with you. Or Lakeside DFW, that's on the very south end of town. There's some great restaurants and a variety of spots across Flower Mound, but really not a lot of nightlife. So if you're a late night dancing person, or somebody who likes to spend, late nights at a bar or at the wine bar or those kinds of things, then, except for places like Marty B's, which is on the very north end of town. It's not really in Flower Mound, but it's on the outside. There's some great restaurants on the outskirts as well. But, nightlife and Flower Mound, it's kind of sleepy. If you're looking to have early nights, which we're early to bed, early to rise sort of people, then Flower Mound is your place. It may not be so much of a con for you, but it made the end of our list of cons. So who's Flower Mound for? It's really for the affluent family or successful professionals that value schools and the quality of education. They value community, beauty among just about everything else. They're not as worried about the luxury price tag or really the lack of nightlife that some people might be. If that's a place for you, then we would love to have that conversation, whether you're moving in DFW or making a move to DFW. You can reach out to us a couple of ways. One is click the link to get our buyer blueprint. That's going to answer a lot of questions and really walk you through what the process might look like. If you'd like to talk directly to us, then that'd be great too. We've got a link in the description. Click that to schedule time and we'll get on a call and look forward to next steps. Thanks so much for hanging out with us and chatting with us. And I want to leave you with something that we like to close all of our videos with. And we just want you to know that God is good. Jesus has forgiven you. You are loved and everything is possible. Talk to you soon.